Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Movie Guide 2005. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well, and links are down below in the info box for those who wish to do that. And this is a re-review, which Movie Guide 2005 mentioned that, which I'm perfectly fine with re-reviewing something, either a bad movie, like I did before this, or good movies like this. And it's always great to rewatch Ghostbusters because this is one of my favorite comedies. I don't know where I would put it, but a lot of times I say, for certain movies like top 10, it'd be somewhere in there because this film is just very original, is very creative for its time, and I just don't watch this film and laugh my ass off multiple times with the way the actors and the characters work with each other, with how they have such expert, fantastic chemistry, and the dialogue and just the blue-collar kind of workmanship of these characters that make them relatable, and you get what they're going through, and it's a cool take on this subject matter. They can make the older I get, the more relatable I get to some of these characters. Interesting enough, but when this film came out, it was huge, biggest comedy of all time. For a longest time, it was considered the biggest, most successful comedy of all time. Because you have people like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, a few guys from SNL like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and Ivan Reitman, who did Stripes and Meatballs. But the concept really sold it to people. Because you have people that at this time, in their glory, they knew how to make stuff funny. But now you have this cool concept that you can really sell to the masses. And kids to watch, because they could see the weird ghosts and get scared but still laugh at the same time. And adults could get some of the other jokes and relate to the characters and enjoy sort of what it says about business ventures and the like of how these people want to be proprietors and the franchise rights alone will make us millions. It's about people starting a business. Only it's a very weird business. It just is just the way the people interact with each other. Bill Murray, at this point, was becoming a big star, much like Jim Carrey would be, and Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask. Bill Murray was rising up. Just people had seen him in Meatballs and Stripes and liked him in those. And okay, now this is big budget chance. And they knocked out of the park. It's one of those films I really don't have anything bad to say about it. And people know the story of Ghostbusters. I don't need to go through the plot of the film. But I mean, the making of Dan Aykroyd is really into the paranormal stuff. He wanted to do something like this for a while. He wanted his buddy Belushi, which they did the Blues Brothers. But then he died, and I think Bill Murray said yes, probably because he was good friends with Belushi, and maybe in a weird way was like honoring his friend or helping out Dan Aykroyd, because Aykroyd and Belushi, I'm sure, was more close with each other. I know Bill was very close. If you watch the Joe Rogan podcast that Bill Murray did with Rogan, Bill Murray mentioned just how close he was to Belushi. And how he hated the book that the guy wrote. One of the guys that dealt with Watergate. And Bill Murray had a funny bit, was Nixon innocent? Like, okay, if that's the way he wrote about my friend, then it makes me wonder, was Watergate all bullshit? But I don't think he was really joking, because he just really hated that guy. I forget if it was Woodward or Bernstein. It might have been Woodward. One of them had written about Belushi. Then that became that film Wired with Michael Chiklis that got a lot of bad reviews. But anyway, so Bill Murray joined. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis joined because Ramis and Aykroyd could work on the script. Ivan Reitman joined because he worked with Bill Murray on Meatballs and Stripes, both films I do enjoy. At one point, there's talks of Eddie Murphy joining the movie, but that didn't work out. Which, hell, I mean, he went on to do Beverly Hills Cop, and I think that was more beneficial to him in the long run. Because Beverly Hills Cop showed what he could do on his own as a star. Here, he would have been the fourth guy. Maybe he would have been in the film sooner than Ernie Hudson was, but he still would have been the fourth guy. Would have been interesting to see, don't get me wrong, but depends on what they would have given him to do, or if they just rewrote the role, then Ernie Hudson just wasn't given a whole lot to work with. Maybe that's one of my few nitpicks, is that I wish Ernie Hudson had more to do. Same with the second one. I wish he had more to do. But it is what it is. I mean, there are certain posters that, or DVD covers that only has that Ernie Hudson isn't even on the cover. Of course, then Sigourney Weaver joins, Rick Moranis, which at one point they wanted John Candy, but Candy wanted this accent for the character. They're like, that wouldn't work. So John Candy says, that's okay. And then he suggested a buddy of his, Rick Moranis, who of course knocked out the part as Louis Tully. And to me, just so much of this film still works to this day. From the great music, with that weird, it fits with the spooky atmosphere. It's not a score that's trying to tell you it's a comedy. You know, it's a score that's helping with the spooky developments going on. It doesn't need to tell you, by the way, this is where you laugh. No, the score fits in the horror aspects of it. Great musical score. And then, like, just the characters. What makes this work, as well as Ghostbusters 2, are the characters. The characters are so fun to just hang out with. And that's how you know a film's working. When, even if the plot's not going on, even if the plot's not developing, if you're just with these characters and they're interacting with each other, and it's still enjoyable. And you just see a whole movie just with these guys bouncing back and forth. If the movie was just these guys bouncing back and forth, Egon, Ray, and Peter trying to do their investigations, it wouldn't be as big of a hit, but still would have been a fun movie. Just like Tremors, Val and Earl, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. If it was just them going around Perfection, Nevada, fixing stuff, hanging out, figuring out, living day to day, it wouldn't be, the monsters and stuff, which is an added bonus, but still would have been a fun movie. And just the history these actors had with each other. Obviously, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray were in Stripes together. Bill and Dan Aykroyd worked together on SNL. So they all had perfect chemistry. And they all felt unique. That's another thing I didn't mention with that 2016 reboot. It came to a point where they all felt like they wanted to be the same person. Here, there's a distinct difference between Ray, Egon, and Peter. There's a distinct difference between the three. Each one has their own performance, their own cadence. And they all work. I think the way Ivan Reitman would say, one's the mouth, one's the brain, and one's the heart. Bill's the mouth, of course, Egon the brain, and Ray the heart. But if Egon started talking like Bill Murray's character, or if Bill started talking like Dan Aykroyd's character, then okay, y'all just trying to be the same person. And just so many things that just still made me laugh my ass off, whether it be Bill Murray shotting his patients to try to get the girl, and when the guy gets shot, he spits his gum out. You keep the $5. I will, mister. And he's lying about the psychic stuff to try to get with this girl. And when when he sees Egon, and he's doing this, and Egon's like, "What the hell?" and then slams the book. Hey, this reminds me of the time you tried to drill a hole in your head. That would have worked if you didn't stop me. When they meet the girl who got, scared in the library. Are you menstruating right now? What's that got to do with anything? Back off, man. I'm a scientist. Like, this deadpan delivery and a great script is still, just the way it's said is still funny. And then when you see the ghosts, I know some people say that the effects are outdated. I mean, okay, they're 1984. Sorry, they don't look. It does not look like a film from 2004. You're right. Or 2024 or 2025. You're right. But I still like the way these effects work. I like the designs. I like the designs of these ghosts. They don't look like a color parade of rainbow bright colors, like the reboot. The library ghost is subtle, and then when you see, it's a really cool, creepy image. I love the bit when Bill's trying to get Dan Aykroyd, calming him down after they get fired. Ray, call it fate, call it karma. I think it was our fate to leave that. How do we raise the money? I don't know. Them finding the place and Egon explaining how this is a death trap and it's not worth it, but they're won over because Ray's like, does this pole still work? Here, try this pole. Go get my stuff. He's so like a kid at Christmas that you just, I was like, okay, I guess we'll take it. Then the receptionist Janine, who's not an idiot or a moron like they made the receptionist in the reboot. Just a person working. And they get the call and they go to a hotel. And it's just like, the bits are just... What are you guys, some like cosmonauts? Nah, someone saw a cockroach up there. Must be one hell of a cockroach. Bite your head off, man. And the stuff with Slimer, nice shooting text, the montage, introducing Ernie Hudson, talking about how there's so much. If normal is a Twinkie, it'd be one like 35 feet long. Now that's a bit Twinkie. See, they use a Twinkie, but I didn't feel like it was product placement. Like, that felt like it fit with what they were talking about. It didn't feel like product placement. I don't know how else to put it. Sigourney Weaver, I've always liked her ever since I saw her in Alien and Aliens. I saw her in those first as a kid, then I saw her in this. I'm like, wow, this is a different character, different type of role than Ripley. She and Bill Murray worked well. I think Sigourney Weaver has a strength to her, so she's not going to let Bill Murray walk all over her on screen. And it seems like even when Bill Murray is saying certain words or phrases, he still has some kind of respect for Sigourney Weaver. And that they did go toe to toe. It's not someone that's going to get blown away by Bill Murray's synergy. So her character, Dana Barrett, I always liked. I always thought it was one of her better characters that she played. And the effects, I think the effects for 1984, they did what they could. They did a pretty good job. Whether it be the eggs baking themselves, so to speak, and frying themselves. Whether it be the demon dogs that's in the fridge, or when it comes out of the chair and pulls her into the room or whatever. There are moments that you go, wow, that's actually pretty freaky. If you saw this as a kid, back in the day, there are moments that could creep you out, like the demon dogs grabbing Sigourney Weaver through the chair and dragging her away. And the light and the door closing. Or even when it's chasing Lewis and the funny bit where he's streaming and slides down and then people start eating again. I'll give you the wide shots of the demon dog running through the park or running to chase Rick Moranis. Of the effects, I would say those are the ones that hold up the least. I'll give you that. But I'm not going to get too mad because this is a film from 1984. There are films today that have that same type of effect, and it's 2025. So, I had to give leniency to that. I like the idea of them being kind of earnest and unsure of how they first catch ghosts. After the montage, now it's like a regular day job. They get the list, they're smoking cigarettes, they put it in, it's job like usual. How they lose that wide-eyed wonder because they've done it so many times and so often. And it's a comedy that's funny. At the end of the day, you just want a comedy that's funny. And it is funny. I have seen shit that'll turn you white. That Ernie Hudson says to the people after they arrest the Ghostbusters. When Bill Murray finds Sigourney Weaver and she's possessed. And she's like, you want this body? Is this a trick question? Be inside me. No. There's too many people inside there already. Walter Peck, that character. I always forget his damn name, but he was in Die Hard, among other films. I always forget his name. Because he was in Die Hard 1 and 2. He was in Biodome. Which I think Kevin Smith wanted him for Mallrats, but he went and picked Biodome. Which was a poor choice. William Atherton. He's really good at playing an asshole, whether this or Die Hard. And just a guy that you just want someone to punch him in the face. You just want him to come up in some way, some form. So I... he just works well for that weasel type of character. I thought him and Bill Murray played off each other well. And in the way the characters interact in the quiet moments, like when they're told to shut it down, I think it's how Ramis that does like... And the light show and the ghosts are flying about. Again, is it grade A material special effects wise with the ghosts flying around? No, but it's well directed. They picked the right music. I still remember that wide shot of the sky and the ghosts in the air and that music. Please, is it kind of magic? Is it kind of magic? Still being kind of creeped out. I don't know why. Just something about the way that song starts. And the way the guy sings it and this kind of lower dulcet tones just brings a sense of sinister feel to it in a weird way that fits the scene well. One of my favorite lines is after they get arrested and Danner's like, oh, Dickless here shut off the power and blah blah blah, and the mayor goes, is this true? And Bill Murray goes, yes, it's true. This man has no dick. Well, that's what I heard. probably my favorite line in the movie is, "This man has no dick." They're finally able to save the day. You even have the song. Dude, good soundtrack. I mean, the score is really good, but so is the soundtrack. It's a kind of, the magic song, the saving the day, do 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 do, saving the day, do 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 do. They go up the stairs. I love the bit where they gotta keep going up the stairs. They get more and more tired. Does that be something real that would happen and genuine? And then they look around the apartment that used to be there, and Dan Aykroyd goes, "Where do these stairs go?" And Bill looks at him and goes, "They go up." And this chick is toast and the Stay Puffed, and I love the design of Stay Puffed, and such a funny idea that the Destructor is this like cute thing with like a cute smiley face and it's a marshmallow. Good one, Ray. If someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. Again, the script was firing on all cylinders. The dialogue exchanges were firing on all cylinders. All the characters, they responded like you would feel like they would. And it all just worked out. The look of the creatures, like the demon dogs, I think the makeup effects looked really good on the demon dogs. And then when it's the wide shot, I don't know if it was stop motion or what they use. It looks a bit funky, but the up close shots I think look good. And even the main villain. Because I remember even as a kid thinking, is that a... They say it's a girl, because Dan Aykroyd says it's a girl. But I'm like, is it a girl? But in fact, who played that person again? Sorry, I should have looked this up before. It's just a very distinct look. Gozer. Oh god, and the way she looks in Afterlife looks so fucking awkward. Just for some reason they made her look like more gray in Afterlife. And it's also like, you had to bring her, really? Okay, I want to see who the person was. Slavitya Jovan in her physical form, and Patty Edwards provided her voice. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. But yeah, it's just a very distinct, unique look. I even like the joke that after everything explodes, Bill Murray's the one that has like no marshmallow on him. Almost as if on set, there's like, nah, you're not putting it on me. Okay. And then you have the Ray Parker Jr. song at the end, which is classic. I know Ray Parker Jr. got in trouble because it was like the Huey Lewis song. And I think Ray Parker Jr. got sued. I want to see like how much that was. Yeah, the song "I Want a New Drug." And then years later, Ray Parker Jr. sued Huey Lewis for breaching a confidentiality agreement related to the settlement, which he won. It was settled out of court in 1985. In 2001, Lewis discussed the settlement, which he wasn't supposed to. And then Ray Parker Jr. won the lawsuit there, so there you go. So with that lawsuit, I mean, I don't know how little money he made, because I would assume with the lawsuit, I don't know if he got a cut of it or if he got most of it taken away or what the deal was. I don't know. I don't know the details. Probably never know those specific details, but yeah, there's a similarity. But I will admit, I like the Ghostbusters theme song more than I Want a New Drug. So I get it, that came first, but the Ray Parker Jr. song, I just think is more fun to listen to. And sadly, that was really the only hit Ray Parker Jr. had. You know, one hit wonder. He was an actor in a film called Enemy Territory, where Tony Todd was the villain, which actually just got a physical release from Arrow Video. But yeah, that was really the only song people remember for Ray Parker Jr., so there you go. But it's a great song. And that's the thing, watching this film again, it was still just so satisfying to watch. So satisfying. It's funny. The characters work so well. The actors are on point with each other. Yes, I can understand some of the effects, like the wider shots of the dogs. Some of the stuff don't look the best. But I think like the Stay Puft stuff still looks really good. That shot when they're shooting down at the Stay Puft and you see the protons shooting down, and then that wide shot where you see the 4 beams hitting the Stay Puft, I still think that looks really cool even today. Good soundtrack, great characters, fun dialogue. What you want in a summer movie. I mean, it's a very funny film, but it still had the nuts and bolts of a blockbuster. The special effects and the creatures and bit of action at the end, bit of action at the hotel that still gave people their money's worth as a big event, but also gave them the laughs. And I mean, you could make an argument that maybe nowadays is not the highest grossing comedy of all time. You could make the argument that it's still the most popular comedy of all time. In terms of, you look at that logo, you say the name, people know what Ghostbusters is. So again, let me repeat, it may not be the highest grossing of all time right now. I don't know if it's maybe like The Hangover or one of those movies. But yeah, I would say it is still the most popular comedy of all time. Not saying it's your favorite. It's one of my favorites. I didn't be in the top 10, but definitely the most popular. Which is why when you made a sequel to it, no matter what it did, it would not have much of a chance. But I still quite like the sequel, which will be next time. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to rewatch. A lot of fun. I remember having some of the toys back in the day. Honestly, it was around Ghostbusters 2, because when this came out, I was only like 1 year old. It was when the second one came out that I saw a little bit more of the merchandising. So I was the right age for Ghostbusters 2. I was what? Like 6 years old. So there you go. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.